All right. And we are live. Hi, everyone who's already logged in. I see that there are several of you out there. And so thank you so much for logging in already for this week's association chat. And I don't know if you've checked out the polls below. Please do so. I want to get a feel for how many of you have a good feeling about ASAE's Gold Circle Awards. I just kind of want to find out before we talk about it, how much you know, how familiar you are with the Gold Circle Awards, because that is our topic for today. And so everyone, welcome to Association Chat. This is your weekly online discussion for the association community where we warm ourselves by the virtual fire. The topics of the day, welcoming thought leaders and trailblazers alike to join up in this online home for the community. I am your host, KiKi L'Italien, CEO of Amplified Growth Digital Marketing and host of this weekly chat that's been around since 2009. And everyone, without a doubt, marketing, membership, and communications are essential to associations today across the board. Am I right? Yes. So ASAE has developed the Gold Circle Awards, especially for those who've proven their excellence in these areas. They say the aim of these awards is to recognize the best of the best in marketing, membership, and communications programs in the association world. And guess what? It's a timely topic because the 2017 Gold Circle Award, they opened up for nominations December 19th, and it closes for nominations February 6th. So you might be asking yourself, what does excellence look like in an age where marketing, membership, and communications could represent everything from direct mail campaigns to augmented reality? Well, you would be right in asking these questions because it can cover all kinds of things. And today we invite you to take a look for yourself as we talk with our special guests, Paula and Chris. Paula Gonzalez is the Director of Member Relations for the Produce Marketing Association, a global trade association representing the fresh produce and floral industries, and she is currently serving as Vice Chair of the ASAE Gold Circle Awards Committee. And also with us is Chris Young. He's the High School Division Director at DECA Inc., and he has more than 10 years of professional experience in association management, specializing in the education sector. As a member of ASAE, he and his organization is a 3-time Gold Circle Award winner. And just as a special side note, he's actually joining us from PCMA. He's at another conference, but I want to brag on Chris a little bit. He's also a 2016 USAE and Association Forum 40 Under 40 honoree. So welcome both of you. Thank you so much for joining me today to talk about the Gold Circle Awards.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. So I'm going to put the spotlight on you, Paula, to start. And I'm going to ask you just, I gave a brief description of what these Gold Circle Awards are. But could you tell us a little bit more about what they are and why they're important to the association world?
Sure. So as you mentioned, they recognize extraordinary marketing, membership, and communications efforts of associations, and particularly in 11 different categories: conventions and meetings, marketing campaigns, advocacy and PR, and government relations campaigns, membership, retention, and recruitment campaigns as well, things like new product and service launches, e-magazines, e-newsletters, print magazines, rebranding, videos, and websites. So there are really quite a few categories that we take a look at and give an opportunity for people to shine in. And then the award winners are announced every year at ASAE's Membership Marketing and Communications Conference. So it's really a wonderful opportunity for people to showcase their best work.
Well, I think it's kind of exciting that there is this award that's available, but why should association professionals care about these awards? Is it more than just, is it the prestige? Is there what makes these awards so special?
Well, I think what makes them so special is the fact that marketing and communications and membership, they're really what's at the heart of associations. I mean, without membership, our associations are nothing, right? We don't exist.
Mm-hmm.
And we need marketing and communications in order to function, and to let the industry and professions that we represent know what it is that we're doing. So it's really important that we share what it is that we're doing, and that we let the rest of the world know what our best practices are, so that they can learn from us. So I think that's what really makes these awards special.
Yeah, I think that, Chris, I'm going to turn it over to you a little bit, because I mean, 3 times in a row, did I read that right? And really?
Yeah, so we actually we won 3 awards in 1 year. So we won ADECA, the convention and meetings marketing campaign, the video, and the website categories. And really, a lot of that was so based on synergy. So, whenever you roll out a new website, we put a lot of video into it. We integrated social media a lot into our website as well, and we do a lot with that with our conferences and meetings. So, it was great to be able to win those 3 categories. And, I would say that the Gold Circle Awards are important for a couple reasons. Sometimes, marketing, membership, and communications, especially with marketing and communications, it's sometimes difficult to get those tangible metrics. Social media has been a big thing about how can you justify it. And so the Gold Circle Awards give a little bit of opportunity for recognition, maybe to your executive management team within your association. But also it's a great opportunity for some best practice sharing and creating some models and samples. I also served as a judge last year. And it was great to see what other associations are doing and learn from them that way. And then I would say, one of the big takeaways for us, both me personally and our association, was that process that you go through to get ready to submit the awards, because you have to have that reflection and kind of that look back as to where you were a year ago and that journey with whatever it was. So it was a great way that, typically we probably wouldn't have written about our website process. We created a new website, but because of the Gold Circle Awards, it made us really think about that reflection piece and put it on paper and see the results of it. It actually made us we do anyway, go back and look at our metrics, but it was a great opportunity to really see, benchmark it from a year ago where we were.
Well, and and I was going to ask you about that too, because I think that, when you go through that process of getting ready, and I see that Richard asked the question, do you get nominated for the awards or do you apply? And is it an application process?
It is. It's an application process because there's a lot of information that you need to submit that only you as the project manager would know. There's information that you have to submit, such as what were your goals and objectives, what strategies and tactics did you employ, what were your metrics, and what were the end results. So you really have to be the person who was involved most intimately with that project in order to supply that information.
Well, one thing that I was kind of going for, and I just wanted to answer Richard's question there, was in going through that process, I'm sure it was very interesting because you were able to dig down and really get clear about what went into this. And you're kind of looking back at what you've done already, right? What the results were and what went into it and how everything went together. Did it impact the way, and it's fine if it didn't, but did it impact the way that you've put projects together moving forward? Did going through that process influence the way that you do anything today?
I think, I don't know if it specifically has, but I think the experience of going through that process definitely helped. As you really think about the strategy and the tactics and where we want to go, those are all questions that with our big projects we answer. So, it was a good experience to reflect and go forward with it. So, that was great. And I will say too, I do believe that all the briefs or on ASAE's Gold Circle website. So you can actually go in and see the winners from the previous years. And I believe there's a link that you can click on it, and it has a lot of that application information that we had to submit about what our strategy was, how we achieved it, and the metrics. So, that was a good resource to look at, both for applying, but also to get new ideas and think about what new ways we can market our association in the future.
Okay, I love that idea, because you're actually going to the winners and you're saying, what did they do? What did they do that really stood out and won these awards that we might be able to apply? And I don't know that a lot of association executives actually think like that. I don't know that they go, maybe they do, but I haven't spoken to many who've mentioned that as a tactic. I think that is probably a pretty solid approach for getting some good ideas and saying, maybe we should try this in the upcoming year. Paula, when it comes to the judging process, and I guess both of you, I'm speaking to both of you because you've both been in that judging process. What goes into being a judge? What does the process look like? How many different submissions do you have a chance to look at? And, do you look at all of them? Do you look at pieces of them? Describe that a little bit to me.
Sure. Well, the judges are picked. You really only judge one category, I think, or maybe just a couple of categories. And so you're only judging the submissions for that particular category. And the number of submissions really varies from category to category. Some categories have several submissions and some have only a few. So there are some categories, obviously, that are more popular than others. I think some of the membership ones don't get very many submissions, but some of the marketing ones get several submissions. So it depends on how much, which category you're judging, on how much work you have to put into reviewing, how much time you have to spend reviewing. But you do review every single submission, and then you have a conference call with all of the other judges to make the decision on on who you want to pick to win the Gold Circle Award for that category. It doesn't necessarily have to be a Gold Circle Award winner for that category if the judging panel doesn't feel that it's merited. And sometimes there's more than one winner. Sometimes they feel that two really stand out and they can't pick between one or the other. So sometimes there will be more than one. And then sometimes there's a clear winner, and then sometimes there's a close second, so they might give a merit award. That's kind of an honorary award. So so there are several different possibilities there for each category.
Okay, so I had a question from Kristen, who says, do you consider legislative efforts, or have you done so in the past? For example, work done to get a bill passed, perhaps only as it relates to grassroots mobilization?
I think it's considered as part of a PR campaign, because we do consider PR advocacy and media campaigns. So if it's part of that, then yes, it would be considered.
Excellent.
And I would say too, for each of the categories, ASAE has set very specific criteria. And so, for example, like the website, there were very specific questions around, is the website mobile friendly? Some of them are yes or no, but some of them it's a rating scale. And so I think as someone who is going to apply for the Gold Circle Awards, you can use that information to figure out what best fits your category. And then obviously, as you write your information, that's very important to make sure that you're answering the questions within that criteria. And then from the judging side, that's exactly how we judge the Gold Circle Awards. Is it takes you through an online portal, and it puts the criteria up, and you rate it. And so that's where the rating pieces come for that conference call. So it's that end in mind design. Look at what you're being evaluated on, and use that to submit your application as well.
Right. And would this be a good time for me to bring up, and I'm sorry, guys, if you're watching this live or watching it later, you might see just a second of a pause here as I share my screen, but would it be a good time to bring up the website for where people go to apply? Okay.
Sure.
Let me go ahead and try that. Bear with me, everyone. Okay, here we go. Application window. And let's see how smart I am at this. All right. It should pop up here. Look at that. Oh my gosh. Okay. So the Gold Circle Awards. And if you can't see that address up there, I think we're going to be able to copy and paste it over here into the chat. We'll get that for you anyway. But Gold Circle Awards, they are, you go through the process, it walks you through, it's pretty, it explains as it goes along the way. But are there any tricks for people to know? We're talking about secrets. So we're talking about, are there ways to stand out? Because surely as you're reviewing, entry after entry, submission after submission, there must be some things, some attributes that help certain entries to stand out above and beyond others. Could either of you speak to those?
I think some of the things that judges overall are looking for is it innovative? Mm-hmm. Is it clean? Is it clear? Is it crisp? Some other things that they're looking for: does the campaign use a multitude of delivery vehicles, especially, and include social media? And do they all tie nicely together? So those are some things that they're specifically looking for. So innovative things that haven't been done before or the judges haven't seen, anything like that will definitely make your campaign stick out. I think another thing are metrics. If you have impressive metrics, that really makes a campaign stand out, because if your campaign really went above and beyond and super exceeded its expectations and goals, then that's definitely going to make the judges take notice.
Right. I love the metrics point, because it wasn't for the Gold Circle Awards, but it was for a different set of awards. And that definitely made a difference in having some sort of measure. It's not that they had to be the most dramatic. It's just that they had to be there so that you could see that there was, some kind of tracking going on. Chris, it looked like you were about to say something.
Yeah, I was just going to underscore the metrics and the impact piece. That was a big takeaway of the feedback that I think from the year that we won, it was, I remember we did a session at MMC at that conference, and it was a big topic of making sure those metrics were in there. And I know last year as a judge, that was a big piece, because you want to have good work, something that's innovative and unique, or I guess something that's very impactful. So looking at those metrics and seeing the value and the impact has been very good too. And it's very interesting how you can get those social media, different platforms. You kind of start, I think, after you get in the application process, you get a whole bunch of ideas. At first you're like, what metrics do you include? But it really, I think, comes together once you start putting everything in. That's why I said it was a good reflection process too.
Yeah, I think that, there are a couple things that who joined us, and Melissa, she commented that she was a little late to the session. You may have already answered my question. Is there a place to see winners from past years? And actually, I want to make a note. Yes, and this is actually a tip, a key. Chris had mentioned this earlier. Yes, there is. You go to the Gold Circle Awards webpage. You are able to click on previous winners, and you can go in and see, who won, what they won for, and get some ideas. And Chris was talking about, Melissa, this was awesome. Chris was talking about how he had gone through and they had looked at what other associations, winning associations, had done as a sort of like a launching off point for sort of brainstorming on what it is they might want to do in the future. And so if you want to do something that has impact, if you want to do something that makes a difference, what a great idea is to go through there and say, I don't know, maybe one of these ideas might fit. Richard brought up the fact that, speaking about the metrics point, that he said it's a good point. Planning beforehand means you can measure how well you've done. Are there any metrics that you really want to see? And I know that, the word impact keeps coming up. And so what does impact mean? If you could, sort of loosely define that for us, when you're going through and you're judging for impact, what are you looking for?
I think it's going to vary depending on which category you've entered. So for example, the measurements and impacts for video, they're going to be very different from the measurements for a media and a PR campaign. So for example, the judges will probably be looking for how many viewers did you get for your video, and how many clicks for your links, in your emails or what have you. But for a PR campaign, it's going to be very different. How many people did you reach? How many impressions did you get in your social media campaign? So I think it's going to be very, very different. So it really depends. In membership campaigns, you're probably going to be looking at for membership recruitment, membership conversion rates, and how many new members did you get versus, and two, I think it also helps to know how does it compare to previous campaigns. If you've done similar campaigns in the past, or if you've done a similar video, or if you're doing the website category, how have your website user numbers increased over the previous year. So I think that's one thing that we as judges typically don't always see on the applications, is how does it compare to previous years? And that's a question that we often wish that we could answer. So that's something that I would include.
Yeah, and I think you can also think of some secondary metrics too. So for example, with our video, obviously we used the views that we could track through like YouTube or the hosting site. But the purpose of it was really to was membership recruitment, membership promotion. So we pulled in our membership numbers from that year that we used the video for that membership cycle and compared it to the previous years. And those types of things are also helpful. So they're not specifically, the clicks or the views, but the bigger picture and the association, that it was helpful for us to use to increase our membership.
See, I love that. I love that. And I think that it's super helpful to know. One thing that Karen Hansen had brought up is for metrics, how do small organizations fit in? Our metrics totally don't look like a big organization's numbers. And you can understand her question there. But I think some of what you both were saying speaks to that, in that you're not going through and necessarily saying, okay, Association A isn't doing as well as Association B because, one has 50,000, an increase in 50,000 members, and one has an increase in 50 members or something like that, right? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, and that's something too that you can include in your application. If you give us a little bit of background about your organization and about your history too, let us know, what your campaign is like, and let us know what your goals are. I mean, there's a section that asks for your goals. So if your goal was to recruit 50 members and you recruited 100, well, that's outstanding, So we take that into account when we review the applications for sure. What's the size of the organization? Because if you can still have outstanding results as a small organization, and big organizations can have lackluster results too. We can say, hey, this organization, it sounds like pretty good results, but they probably could have done better, considering the resources that they had. So we take that into consideration a little bit too.
So I have a kind of a strange question for you both, and I don't know that you're really prepared to answer it, but a lot of times when you go through, if you're on the judging side of things, there will be an entry that just is different, and it might be different in a good way, different in a weird way, bad way. What's the weirdest or strangest entry that you've ever seen? You don't have to name names if you don't want to, but if it's strange in a good way, you can. But do either of you have experiences with that you could share?
Go ahead, Chris.
Cool. I have an example of, so at the annual MMC conference that ASAE puts on in usually June, they have a session where Gold Circle awards are highlighted, a couple of them. And that's actually how I found out about the Gold Circle Awards, was attending those sessions. And I've gotten some tangible ideas from there. And so then it was kind of like, okay, we've done some work. I want to share that. But anyway, one of the entries that won, it was like a 60-second video. And I think it was about the floral industry, actually. And it was kind of like a love, sex, and death theme for this video. And it was catchy because it took those, you know, hot topics that you might see in a soap opera and put it into the industry. And so it was a very well-produced video, and it was catchy. So, you know, they took something that an association and something a little bit risque, blended them together, and had a really good impact. And that one actually won a Gold Circle that year.
I love it. So weird can win, you guys. Weird can win. All right. Paula, do you have?
Absolutely. Well, yeah, along those same lines, one of the winners this year was one that surprised us. It was the Soil Science Society or something along those lines. It was a PR advocacy campaign about soil science, which you wouldn't think would be very attractive or fun, but they had a very successful PR and media campaign. I think they were creating a national day for soil science awareness or something like that. And it was a successful campaign and they won. It was just kind of an odd topic that none of us thought anybody would be interested in, but it was, so they won.
That's really, really fun. I love hearing ideas like this, but you know, I think that probably if you guys are paying attention and getting anything out of this, I think what we're hearing is that it's good to be unique. And if you need any ideas, I mean, Chris really, he hooked into what to do, right? If you need any ideas, and not even just for the awards, you go to, if you're at MMCC, then you go and see the session that has to do with the Gold Circle Awards, and you figure out, okay, what did these guys do that helped them to win? And, you know, can I use any of these ideas at my organization? And then going to the list and seeing who won in the past. I mean, award-winning ideas. I love the idea. I'm not all about shortcuts all the time, but I love it when there's a shortcut to success. So if you can shortcut to success, that's awesome. And that's really, really good advice. So we talked about the weird. Paula, I know that with you serving on the committee, you guys are always looking for different ways to get the word out there about the Gold Circle Awards and to do some innovative things just in that sort of regard, where you're engaging people to try to get bigger and better entries and to let people know they exist and to get more engagement. So can you speak a little bit to what the committee is planning for this year, if you can? I don't know if you can, and talk a little bit about some of the ideas that you have that are maybe a little different than what you've done in the past.
Right. So we're having an educational session at MMC, the Membership Marketing Conference, Communication Conference, and we're hoping to have some more educational sessions at other events. Haven't heard yet about those applications, if they've been accepted or not, but hopefully we will. We're doing some virtual lunches and webinars throughout the year, some idea swaps and brown bag lunches throughout the DC area. We're planning on doing at least one of those. And also this association chat. So thank you very much for hosting us. A live chat on Collaborate. We're planning on doing probably in the summertime. So lots of little things like that. Getting more involved in social media, and then also getting the word out and sharing the best practices of the winners themselves. That's really important to us too, because we want to make sure that that people are learning from the winners because they have a lot of really good ideas to share. As Chris mentioned, that's where he got some of the ideas for some of their work. at DECA. So we want to make sure that we get the word out that way as well. So we've been doing articles in Association Now and trying to get out some more articles in other publications too, to share the best practices and success stories of the winners. So those are some of the things that we're working on.
I think that sounds really exciting. Chris, do you guys have any plans? Are you going to let us know if there's plans to submit for this year, or what's the story?
Yeah, we're kicking around some ideas. We did not submit anything last year, but we've done some new work around some video and some other things. So we might be submitting a couple, maybe.
He's not going to tell. He doesn't want to but no, that's really exciting. And I think that, you mentioned video, for example, and I think that video is definitely, it's a hot topic. It's a hot format. And everyone's talking about what are you doing with video and or live streaming like this and that kind of thing. It's definitely something people are talking more about now than they used to, I think. Are there any, things that you're on the lookout for this year in particular, Paula, that you're like hoping that you're going to see, or maybe crossing your fingers that you see more of? I know I mentioned augmented reality earlier, and I don't know how many entries you see that have anything to do with that, if any.
Yeah, that would be an interesting one to see. I think it would be, we're starting to see more and more social media integrated into campaigns, but it's surprising that it's not more integrated into more campaigns. I'm surprised that we don't see it as much as we do. We definitely see it a lot in the PR and advocacy category, but it seems to be that there's more opportunity to see it in some of the other campaigns, like membership, the recruitment and retention campaigns. I don't see it so much in there. So I think that it's surprising to me that we don't see that so much.
Interesting. And I'm scrolling down here because I have to take a peek before this chat, just so you guys know. When we asked how much do you know about ASAE's Gold Circle Awards, and this is just for the participants who have participated in the poll, not a bit and maybe a little won out over I've participated and a ton. No one said they're the master of all information related to these awards, but interesting that that's what we heard down below about how much people know about the Gold Circle Awards. I think that basically, if we're looking for innovation, if we're looking for creativity in the awards, I would be asking, what is my competition like? So what are the numbers like as far as how many submissions you usually get? Is it is it a handful? Is it a lot? Like, do you have kind of a, roundabout number of what you usually get?
I think we usually get a couple hundred. And that's, again, it's across all the categories. And it varies from category to category. As I mentioned, some categories aren't as popular, like print magazine, I don't think gets as many. And I think, I'm trying to think, there's a couple others that don't get so many, but some are more popular, like websites, pretty popular, PR campaigns, pretty popular. So it just varies from campaign to campaign, but I think we get about somewhere between 100 and 200 submissions overall.
And how many people go into, who sit on the committee and actually go into the serve as judges? How many people end up reviewing that?
Well, the committee members, we only judge the overall winner.
Okay.
So we don't really serve as judges on any of the categories. There one or two of us do sit on and participate on the calls, but for the judges, but we only serve as facilitators of the calls. We don't serve as judges at all. So we only judge the overall campaign, not any of the category winners.
And last year, I judged the video category, and I think we had probably 10 to 15 different judges during that first round, and then we convened and had that call. So I think it's somewhere between, at least in my experience, it was 10 to 15 different judges.
Yeah, sorry, I was just going to add that we rely heavily on volunteer judges because we need multiple judges for each category, and there are 11 categories. And we need to make sure that we have enough judges to finish judging the category, because a lot of people, they sign up and they see how much work is involved, that they have to review every single submission and then participate on a conference call to pick the winner. So not everybody who signs up ends up ultimately judging, participating on that final call. So we do really heavily rely on the volunteer judges. So we can always use more people to sign up if they're interested.
Perfect. That's exactly where we were going. Richard over here asked, can anyone become a judge? What are the rules or guidelines for becoming a judge? And if somebody can't participate in actually submitting something for an award, is that maybe a way that they can get involved?
Yeah, absolutely. If you can't submit, and even if you do submit for an award, you can still sign up to be a judge. We just won't assign you to judge the category that you submitted for. You can still judge for a different category. So you can.
Richard says, I make a wicked rhubarb crumble, if that helps.
that sounds great. So I think really the only criteria are, that you're an association professional and that you have some experience in, the membership marketing or communications functions. That's really what we look for in the judges, that you have some sort of experience in one of those realms. That way we know that you're capable of judging in that area.
Excellent. Excellent. And you guys aren't going to make us jump through a bunch of tests and typing tests and things like that, right? In order to, good, because I wouldn't pass the typing test, I don't think these days.
No.
All right. Excellent. Excellent. Does anyone else have a question for our from our live audience? Eric, and nice to see you, Eric. It's been a while. Is there a judge application online? And he says he can type better than I can, it seems. So
there is a form online where you can volunteer to judge. So we'll make sure that we share that with everybody.
All right, excellent. And a lot of, you had mentioned earlier that some of the things that the Gold Circle Award Committee has been working on has been making sure that the word gets out about the Gold Circle Awards, that you are posting articles and all of that. But what I hear from Chris is that he's gleaned knowledge from going to these sessions and looking at past award winners. Where can people find out more information about past award winners? Is there sort of like a database of articles, or is there any one place, or is it sort of scattered out there? Do we need to go to Google?
Did you want to answer that one, Chris?
Oh, sure. I think they're archived on ASAE's website. So if you go under the programs and go to Gold Circles, I imagine at least last year's is there, but I know they've had a couple previous years there, and they have like PDFs to download, and you can see both the association and hopefully the work that they won, as well as the entry too.
Yeah, because we're talking about the future, but I'm very interested in not just learning from the immediate past, but then also as time has gone by, how did those things pan out later down the road? Because for some of these things that were implemented, maybe they weren't just a short campaign, but maybe there was a new program or something like that, that maybe it started off well and then it petered out. Maybe it grew even more beyond that. And I'd love to kind of see and track over time how certain projects worked out. And so I don't know, is that something that is tracked somewhere, or do you know, Paula?
We haven't done that. That's a great idea though. And that's definitely something that we could start working on as we're moving forward. We've been more focused on the more immediate winners, as far as like checking in and doing the articles and things like that and writing about their winning campaigns. But I love the idea of focusing, of going back to some of the previous winners from like 2 or 3 years ago and checking in and seeing how their campaigns are doing and since they won.
Yeah, I love that idea. I just think, I mean, you know, I think that it's kind of like a you know, where are they now kind of thing, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so, exactly.
You know, people, they leave, they go to different organizations and sometimes, you know, sometimes a program dies with that change. Sometimes it could mean that it grows in a new direction. So I kind of like to see over time what happens with different ideas. So it's fun stuff. Eric says, if we look back at the best of the past, do you see if we look at the leaders and see that, wow, they were innovative? Or like when we look and see the best picture Oscar winners of the past and we see a big oversight, for instance. Beth says, I actually found a podcast guest by looking at the winning projects of the Gold Circle Awards. Ideas. Mm-hmm. I might do that too, Bev. I'm going to go through that. I'm going to go through there and start looking myself. I think that's a great idea. All right. So any final words for people who want to get involved with the Gold Circle Awards or want to submit? Paula, Chris?
Please don't be afraid to sign up, you know, to submit your campaign or your piece. You know, it doesn't hurt to try, and we're always looking for examples, and we want to feature the best of the best. So please feel free to submit your articles or your campaigns, and if you aren't going to submit a campaign, then please you know, sign up to be a judge. We can always use that, and it's a great opportunity to see what other associations are doing. So there, you can still learn that way and meet other association professionals as well. So it's a good networking and learning opportunity too. So I would just encourage you to get involved.
All right. Yeah. And my little office companion here, Gucci, wants to know what you think, Chris.
Hello. I would definitely say, don't be afraid. You know, I think we all do good work, and sometimes we don't necessarily think it's good because it's our work, but you know, really try it. You know, we submitted 4 applications that year, and I had no idea really what the outcome was going to be, and we ended up winning 3 awards. One of them we actually pulled together last minute and forgot about something that we had done, and realized that it was within that year and was eligible. So we're glad that we put that one in there. But you know, definitely think about your work. It's a great opportunity to reflect, and you never know what you're up against. So if you have something that you're proud of and you know, made a difference in your association, because that's what we're all about, don't be afraid to submit it. And like I said before, on the other side, like Paula said too, there's great professional development and learning from either serving as a judge or participating in these types of sessions and learning from the winners as well.
Okay, well, I thank you so much for being a part of this. And usually, recently, at the end, I've been asking guests to play a little game with me, a word association game. And so I'm going to do a brief version of that with both of you, and then ask you one final question. So your word, Chris, and here are the rules. You can't think about it too long. Split second. I mean, this is definitely like therapy or something. I'm going to say the word and you answer immediately what comes to mind. Okay. Okay. So Chris and then Paula. Okay. So Chris, you're weird. Or you're weird, your word. I gave it away.
I'm in Austin, so that's a perfect word for that.
I gave away the word. I wanted to use weird. Okay. Gosh darn it. Okay. Leader.
President, I guess.
Okay.
Within your association or your board.
Okay. And Paula, I'm going to say future.
Future. Prospects.
Prospects. Okay. All right. No, that's good.
prospects look
yes.
bright.
Oh, nice,
hopefully.
Nice. I love it. Okay, and so your final question before I wrap things up is name 2 resources that you find invaluable for the association world in your career.
I think Collaborate is incredibly resourceful. I'm on it all the time, looking for answers and trying to network and find people. I find it incredibly useful. I must be a member of probably 10 or 12 different communities on Collaborate. And then the models and sample site on ASAE's website too, I find incredibly helpful. So those are 2 resources that I couldn't do without as an association professional.
I love it.
Yeah. And then I love getting the the daily emails from ASAE associations now. Those are very timely and a lot of information. And then the second piece I'd say is a little bit broader. And those are just kind of different opportunities. So, taking advantage of networking opportunities like, this chat, or, I was studying for my CAE, and that network of people that our study group that we were together, and that whole experience of, reading and learning together, and, collaborate too, just any sort of networking opportunity, whether it's formal or informal or accidental or by design. That's been great for me because I'm learning from others outside of my specific association.
I love these answers. And I just, I have to say that I am still dying inside a little bit that I just called my guest weird instead of like
Totally. I'm in Austin, and their saying is keep Austin weird.
Right,
so
right. Yes, that's right. Well, weird is the thing that I totally love. Weird. I'm working on a book called Why Weird is Better. So it's a good thing for me, but I love asking that question. I hate that I spoiled it for myself. All right. Well, thank you so much for participating in today's association chat. Chris, Paula, you guys have been absolutely phenomenal and great sports with all of the craziness that a live streamed conversation can entail. So I want to thank you so much for providing valuable insights about the Gold Circle Awards and about your experience with all of that goes into both submitting and judging those awards. To our viewers, thank you so much for joining us on another episode of Association Chat. Before you go, I want to let you know that next week we're going to have a conversation with Sean Boynes about diversity and inclusion challenges for associations. So that's next Tuesday at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. The following week is going to be a little bit different. We're going to have a special association chat at a special time. It's actually happening on a Monday, which I know is going to throw everybody off, but it is a live event that is taking place as part of the Community Managers Appreciation Day. And I'm going to be talking with 5 o'clock Films and Media about video, and several other people about video and associations. And we're going to be talking about some community management stuff too. I hope you can participate in that. I hope you've had fun with this, guys. I hope that you've learned something that will help you in your association now and in the future. And if you like Association Chat, then please consider sharing this chat with your colleagues and give us some love on social media. And as always, if you want to continue the discussion, you can join the Association Chat Facebook group for regular updates on upcoming topics and some special guests, little information there too. Maybe you or someone from your association will become one of the next Gold Circle Award recipients. Win or lose, hopefully you can use this information to help you and your association grow. So thank you, everyone, and I hope to see you next week. See you, everybody.
Bye.
All right. Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Bye-bye.